Hello guys, this is NASCAR's Fan 2015 back as we are starting the 2016 edition of Chasing the Sprint Cup with the predictions video, as obviously some of you probably don't know about Chasing the Sprint Cup because relatively new to this channel. I did this last year. I covered obviously the 10 races of the chase. I made predictions and recapped the race, and it was pretty cool, as obviously I think this year's Chasing the Sprint Cup is going to be much bigger because, one, I think I'm going to have a bigger audience this year because last year at this point I was like at 100 subscribers, a little bit more than 100, so wasn't much. Now in that year the channel's grown to almost 1,000, so I think just and like these videos, so that's why I'm kind of going over this a little bit. And then second reason is I've enabled that 15 minutes thing, and I figured out how I can post longer videos. So now I can take almost all the time I want during these videos. I can make a good 20-minute video rather than a rushed 15-minute video like some of it was last year. So I would expect this is going to be the better year of Chasing the Sprint Cup, and it should be exciting covering the next 10 weeks of NASCAR. And then obviously this episode with the predictions, is I'm really excited. This is one of my favorite. I like doing these videos. It's really fun to go over the chase and like go over the racing action sometimes. I mean, NASCAR views mainly about topics, but you don't like go over a race. But I'd say these are really fun. So we're going to get right into it, as obviously we got the round of 16 coming up. It's newly named the round of 16, as we have, with 4 wins at the top of the chase grid, Kyle Busch and then Brad Keselowski both have 4 wins. Kyle Busch won the tiebreaker because he had more second place finishes, which I was kind of confused because I thought it was on points, but it's on second place. And then Denny Hamlin has 3 wins, as Kyle Busch, Keselowski have 2012 points. Denny Hamlin has 2009. And then Kevin Harvick has 2 wins. Carl Edwards has 2 wins. Martin Truex has 2 wins. Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson also have 2 wins. So they have 2006 points. So they're only 6 points off the lead, and it gives them slightly bit of room. And then this next one, we got a couple interesting winners. Got Joey Logano. We got Kyle Larson, who got the win at Michigan. We have Tony Stewart in his final season. Kurt Busch, who I was kind of surprised he ended up 12th. And I know who's on that, but I thought Kurt Busch wasn't gonna be seeded 12th. It's kind of weird seeing him back there, knowing his successful regular season, his consistent season. And then Chris Buescher, the controversial part of this chase, they all have 1 win. They're going to start out with 2003 points entering round 1. And then the guys on points, Chase Elliott, the rookie, Austin Dillon, who finally makes it, and Jamie McMurray, they start out with 0 bonus points. They start with 2,000. So they're at a little bit of a disadvantage, but obviously if someone has an issue, they could easily make up some ground in this first race. We saw that last year, where a couple guys, I think Ryan Newman was like 6th in points after race 1 because he had a good race when others didn't have that great of a race. So I don't think they're gonna be there for long. I think we could see them above the cutoff after Chicagoland. So now we get on to the predictions. So I named the 16 drivers. We got 10 races. We have to cut it down from 16 to 12 to 8 to 4. So let's do this. So Chicagoland, I think at Chicagoland, my prediction to win For that, I think Joey Logano is going to win Chicagoland. I said this last year, didn't work out well, but I just think Logano's good at Kansas. I feel like eventually, I think Kansas is similar to Chicagoland, and I think Logano has fallen under the radar this year. He has just only one win, and I feel like he's gonna I think he's gonna win this weekend and lock himself. I think they're probably saving something for the chase, and Logano is a second half driver. He only has like 2 wins in the first half of the season, and then the rest of his wins have all came in NASCAR's latter half. So I think Joey Logano is going to go to victory lane, and then he's going to lock himself in like Denny Hamlin. He was under the radar and he won. And then moving on to New Hampshire, I am thinking it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a Toyota race. I mean, I think it's either going to be Toyota, or I could possibly see Brad Keselowski winning this race. And I'm gonna stick with the Penske trend. I think Brad Keselowski goes to victory lane at New Hampshire. I kind of see him stepping it up, and I think the team that wins Chicagoland, I think, is going to have the momentum. We saw that last year with Gibbs. I think Penske is going to be the one that has the momentum after the first 2 races, and they're going to set a statement, and they're going to end up locking both their drivers in. But I do think it's going to be an interesting race. I think New Hampshire might be another fuel mileage, and this could be the part where the guys like Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, Jamie McMurray, that could be their chance to gain points if, let's say, the top drivers, maybe Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin or something, if they run out of gas or something, that could be their time to gain some points. So then we head to Dover, the cutoff race in round 1. I am not sure who's going to win Dover. Kyle Larson's good. Matt Kenseth had speed last year. He won that race. We saw, I think, Kevin Harvick do well. Gibbs had an okay race, I think overall, but they had issues. That's the thing that's plagued Gibbs. I know it's Dover, they have fast cars, but normally, like especially now it's the summer race, but normally in the summer race, it seems like almost every car has an issue. I don't know why. They're always running good, and then there's an issue. It seemed like Denny Hamlin every time has an issue. It seemed like Kyle Busch every time has an issue. I think Matt Kenseth, besides last year, had an issue. And then I think Carl Edwards got in 2 wrecks. So I'm feeling like Kevin Harvick or possibly Martin Truex is going to win. But I'm going to give this one to Kevin Harvick. Because he has found, I think he's probably the new king at Dover. I mean, Jimmy Johnson's kind of been knocked down the ladder a bit. And I think Kevin Harvick has risen up into possibly Dover's new king. And I think Kevin Harvick, if he stays out of trouble and has a good race, I think he is going to win Dover. And just like last year, but he might be in a better position. Because Chicago and New Hampshire, if he just maybe has 2 better races, I don't think he'll have to win. But I do think he's going to win. So now we go on. Who's going to be the 4 drivers eliminated? So I'm going to go off the list. Joey Logano's in. Brad Keselowski's in. Kevin Harvick's in because of wins. And okay, so now I'm going to say Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is in. He's had speed at all 3 of those tracks. So I don't think advancing is going to be a problem for Kyle Busch. I'm going to say Denny Hamlin also makes it. He's been pretty good at those 3 tracks. If he gets, I think, with the exception of Dover, if he just has a consistent race at Dover, he's going to be in. Let's see, Joey Logano. No, I already said Joey Logano. Wow, I'm losing track. Carl Edwards is going to be in. I think he's really good he's Concrete Carl. I think he can advance. Kurt Busch, with his consistency, he's in. Let's see, who's next? Martin Truex Jr., it's Toyota power. Martin Truex is going to advance. Let's see, I feel like Matt Kenseth, I'm going to keep going with Gibbs. Matt Kenseth's good at Dover and New Hampshire. His 2 wins. Matt Kenseth's going to advance. I think Jimmy Johnson will advance if he has no mistakes. I've seen that 48 team. They've been horrendous the last couple months. It seemed like every race he has some penalty, every single race. If they have no mistakes during this chase or in this first round, I think Jimmy Johnson's going to advance. I think also Kyle Larson. I feel like Kyle Larson's going to make a lot of noise in this chase. He's on a momentum, and that's why I'm saying Kyle Larson is also in the chase. So I got to think, who's this down? Okay, McMurray, Austin Dillon, Tony Stewart, Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher, and then I think there's like a couple of people. Those are the people I have narrowed it down to, which not really sure. So I'm gonna go first by saying the guys who I know won't make it. I know for a certain fact Chris Buescher is not gonna make it. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I don't see Chris Buescher coming close at all. I mean, he made the chase. He had like 2 good runs, but after that, he's just a 25th car. I mean, I said he was 30th. I was wrong. He's a 25th car. He's just mid-pack. I think the only reason why he's going to make it to the second round is if there's a big one at Dover like we saw last year, or no, in the 2016, wipes out almost half the field, half the chasers, and then Chris Buescher somehow gets out of there with a top 10. It's his only chance of advancing. So I'm saying Chris Buescher's automatically out. I'm going to say Jamie McMurray's out. I mean, they said Ganassi's on a roll. I said Kyle Larson was going to make it. And they said they were going to bring faster cars, but I just don't see them stepping up. And plus, everyone's going to bring their best cars to Chicagoland. Jamie McMurray is that he's just I think too outnumbered. He doesn't have the speed as Kyle Larson. He has consistency, but I just don't think that. I feel like he is just not gonna do it. I see the big drivers winning and running up front and getting in. So I think McMurray's out. And then, so I think this leaves Tony. I think it leaves Tony Stewart, Chase Elliott, and Austin Dillon. So Tony Stewart, he's been all right, I think. But the issue is with Tony Stewart is 1.5 miles. That's kind of been his weakness, I think. I was probably like around Watkins, I was thinking Tony Stewart might make it far. But then when I looked at like results at Kentucky and all those where he ran and got a top 5, but he was not really a threat in those races. He saw some cars wreck, had pit strategy. It could work, but I just think I don't know about Tony Stewart. Austin Dillon, he's okay, but I can't see him beating some of these other cars. I think he's going to be racing the same. He's going to be racing Jamie McMurray. He's going to be racing Chase Elliott. He's definitely going to beat Chris Buescher, and he'll probably be racing Tony Stewart. I don't think he can beat anyone else if they're up to the top of their game. I just can't see Austin Dillon like being a top 5 car. Sure, Ryan Newman had some of that, but I don't know. And then we go to Chase Elliott. Obviously, he's pretty much had an up and down chase. I mean, or regular season. I mean, he started out really well with speed, and then he kind of went down during the summer, but then he kind of picked it up. And I think Chase Elliott, out of the 3, I think he has the most speed. But obviously, finish-wise, I would pick Tony Stewart, Austin Dillon. But I just feel like if Chase Elliott can rattle off consistent, if he can stay out of trouble, I'd say if he can have a consistent 3 weeks, I think he can make it. And I think that's why I'm going to put Chase Elliott over Tony Stewart and Austin Dillon. Not because I'm biased, but I just think Chase Elliott has been consistently better than Austin Dillon and Tony Stewart speed-wise. But if Chase Elliott gets in a wreck, then I'm definitely picking like Austin Dillon and Tony Stewart over him. So obviously that wraps up round one. Probably took 20 minutes, but so that means Tony Stewart, Austin Dillon, Jamie McMurray, and Chris Buescher all eliminated. Chris Buescher not shocked at all. So anyways, we go to round two. Charlotte, Kansas, and Talladega. And I think this round is going to come down solely to Talladega. We saw Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. They had great cushions entering Talladega, and they still wound up outside the chase bubble. I think you can have two of the best races at Charlotte and Kansas, and you can still have wreck at Talladega and be out. Now, I'm not saying just quit those two races and then just watch everyone wreck at Talladega. No, they still need to run up front, but I'm just saying they're going to have to go into Talladega and come out at least with a top 20 if they want to be in this championship round. Or no, Eliminator 8. So we're going to go off Charlotte. So Charlotte, I'm going to have to say with Charlotte, I'm thinking a Gibbs car is going to win Charlotte. Maybe Denny Hamlin. I think a mile and a half is going to be next for Denny Hamlin. So I'm thinking he's going to win. Charlotte, I don't think he's won there before, but I just feel like he's got speed, and I think he's going to put Gibbs kind of back on the map after losing the first three races. So we head into Kansas next, and I feel like Kyle Busch is going to get past that jinx of Kansas and win there as well. I'd say Martin Truex Jr., as well as Charlotte, he's going to come in second in both those weeks. I think there's going to be some type of stupid issue that ends up making Martin Truex Jr. lose the race. So Martin Truex Jr. is going to finish second. And then Talladega. My pick for Talladega, I'm going to have to go with Brad Keselowski again. That two team is just so good. They're unstoppable at plate races this year. Penske is pretty much now the new Hendrick Motorsports. And then Gibbs is somewhat up there at plate tracks. And I think that's going to be the best bet to avoid the big wrecks. So now it's time for who advances. So I just said Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski have advanced. They're all in. So now who's going to be next? Well, I'm about ready to say that. I'm Martin Truex Jr., 2 good races. I think Talladega is going to be fine. If he just stays ahead of the pack, I think he'll be good. So Martin Truex Jr. is into the next round. After that, I'm going to have to say that Carl Edwards also advances. I think Gibbs is going to put up that, and I think Edwards I don't think he's gotten in many wrecks. I think he had a good run at Daytona, good run at Talladega in 2015. He had 2 misfortunes, but I think Carl Edwards is going to get in. And then after them, I am going to say Kevin Harvick. He's fast everywhere. I think Kansas and Charlotte, he's going to build up a cushion. He won't have another fiasco at Talladega. And Kevin Harvick's going to get in by maybe a top 15 finish at Talladega. Because I think really besides the 400, he has finished a lot of these plate races. He's barely gotten in any wrecks. So I'm putting him in. So that leaves Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Jimmy Johnson, I think, is the drivers I haven't put through. So now I'm going to go through that list for you. So Kurt Busch, he's consistent. He's a good plate racer. He just needs to find victory lane. Matt Kenseth, he's just had some cursed luck, and so I'm not too sure about Kenseth. I think Talladega and Daytona, I think besides He's wrecked a lot on these plate tracks. Besides Daytona, I mean, he wrecked at Talladega last year. He wrecked at Daytona. He's wrecked a lot on these plate tracks. Kyle Larson, he's wrecked a lot too. But I'm still thinking he might. I still think Kyle Larson is a changed driver, and he has avoided a lot of the wrecks this year. I mean, besides Talladega, he's done well at Daytona, and so I'm thinking he has a good chance. And then we come down to the 200 guys. Jimmy Johnson, oh boy, he's wrecked. I think he wrecked in 2 of those. He's just never really had the best time at Talladega. Sure, he's won there twice, but it just seems like most of the time during the other Chase era, he literally had to come out there with a top 20. But now, I think Johnson's going to have to get like a top 10 at Talladega if he wants to advance and not get himself into stupid situations like he did in 2014. And then Chase Elliott, that car did have speed until Daytona in July, where they qualified 21st. And Chase Elliott has wrecked a lot on these plate tracks. I mean, he wrecked in the Xfinity Series, I think, in every race except Daytona in 2015. He wrecked at Daytona in the 500, and then he wrecked at the 400. Talladega, he did a good job avoiding the wrecks. So I don't really know. I'm thinking Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott are out. I'm also going to put Matt Kenseth out. I really don't see him. I feel like this is where a Gibbs car gets axed. I don't think Matt Kenseth will make it. And then it comes down to Kurt Busch and Kyle Larson. I'm going to give Kyle Larson a slim advantage because I think Kyle Larson, he has the mojo to win these races, and I think that Kyle Larson is going to outrun Kurt Busch slightly, but I think it'll be very close between those two, maybe 1 or 2 points. So that means Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson all are eliminated from the chase. So if you guys are there, I'm not biased again for Chase Elliott since I eliminated him this middle. But anyways, now we're on to the round of 8 at Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. We have Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, and I forgot one driver, I think. Oh yeah, I think Denny Hamlin. So we're going to head into Martinsville, and Martinsville is going to be a hard one for me to predict. I'm thinking it's going to be a Gibbs car, and I'm going to pick Denny Hamlin. I think Denny Hamlin he was good at Richmond, and I think he's going to do well at Martinsville and give Gibbs, I think, like 5 out of the 6 short tracks. Texas is finally going to go to the 2-car Brad Keselowski. Finally. I mean, he's been so close to making it, or winning at Texas, I think. And I think this time Brad Keselowski gets it done. He's going to roll into Texas and lock himself up into the championship 4. Probably kind of be a little bit mad, but Brad Keselowski will earn this victory. And this will put his win total to 7 wins in 2016. And then Phoenix, this is going to be a shocker. Kevin Harvick wins at Phoenix. I mean, besides that race where they rain delayed it to make Dale Jr. win, Kevin Harvick's going to win Phoenix. I think he's going to be really good. We're on a clean race, and he's going to lock himself up in the championship 4 for the 3rd year in a row. So who could make it after that? We have Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, and Kevin Harvick into the championship 4. And so we have Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Larson, and I'm forgetting and Joey Logano. They're the other drivers left. I'm thinking Logano, he might have speed, but I'm not sure if this is... I think he's gonna make a statement, but I'm not sure. I think Keselowski is gonna be the one with the momentum in this chase. Martin Truex Jr., this team will probably shoot themselves in this round. I mean, they always have issues, so I think this might be Martin Truex Jr.'s killer. I mean, he's been. I'm not at Phoenix. I don't think he did like absolutely great at Phoenix, so I don't know if that's going to get him in. And then Martinsville, I don't really remember Truex running up front, so those could be his weak spots. Kyle Busch, he won Martinsville in Texas, so he's the one I think in the best position. And then Carl Edwards came so close to beating Kevin Harvick at Phoenix, and he did okay at Texas, did okay at Martinsville. So he's going to be close. And then also, Kyle Larson, I don't expect anything from actually, he did do well at Martinsville last time, but I still don't think Kyle Larson's going to have something for him in this third round. It's going to be good, though, seeing Kyle Larson make it this far, though. So I'm going to give the fourth and final spot to Kyle Busch. He is going to make the Final Four, and he is going to have a chance to defend his championship at Homestead. So this sets up for an epic Final Four. Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch. Pretty much the Irwin Tools Cup Series Final Four, except you swap Truex for Denny Hamlin. So we head into Homestead, the Championship 4, the big race. Almost probably NASCAR's version of the Super Bowl. Well, besides Daytona, but we head into there, and I feel like Kyle Busch won there last year. Kevin Harvick won in 2014. Brad Keselowski has never really ran well, I don't think, at Homestead. Well, he has had some good runs, but I mean, he hasn't like been close to winning. And then Denny Hamlin won there a couple times. And so I am going to say the 2016 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion is going to be driver the number 11, Denny Hamlin. I think this is finally his year. He has shown he can win on all types of racetracks, not just short tracks. And I feel like he's going to emerge. I think he's shown that I think he can compete up front. And he's kind of he's getting close to being even with Kyle Busch. I mean, he won Watkins Glen. He's won a lot of other tracks, and Homestead's one of his better tracks. If he can have a good chase, if he can get to Homestead, I think that Denny Hamlin can win. He has a great crew chief, and I think I can see him winning. I can see Kyle Busch possibly coming in second in the championship. And then I'd say Kevin Harvick, I think he's going to be outrun in this race. Or he might come in second again. I mean, he's come in second 23 times. Are you kidding me? And I think he's going to I think he might hit 30 by the end of this chase. And then Brad Keselowski, he'll be up there, but I don't see him winning number 2 this year. I think he's going to be the hottest driver of the chase, though. He's going to end the season with 7 wins. But I think he'll come up short to Joe Gibbs and Denny Hamlin. So that's my pick. So obviously, you can, if you disagree, you're saying Denny Hamlin, he just popped out of nowhere. He won a plate race. Well, feel free to argue that in the comments. Or you can come up with your own idea of the chase, or like who you think's going to advance. Or you could say that Chris Buescher isn't that bad and somehow he's going to make it to the second round. Do whatever. Just say your opinion below, who you think's going to advance. And it should be interesting. So that's the end of the video, guys. Obviously, the next episode of Chasing the Sprint Cup will be after Chicagoland. That should be coming around next Monday or Tuesday. I'll work that out, and that should be exciting. So obviously, like me on Facebook for updates. Subscribe for more videos, and this is Nest Racing Fan 2015, signing out.